Today, the world has awakened to the devastating news that an Air India flight carrying 242 souls has been involved in a tragic accident. As footage shows, the Boeing 787 Dreamliner bound for London came down in a residential area shortly after takeoff. What happened and what do we know so far? Let's have a closer look. Disclaimer: this is a developing story and details are still emerging. Out of respect for the victims and their families, I'll avoid speculation until official findings are released. My thoughts are with those who lost their lives and everyone affected by this tragedy. On June 12 at around 1 p.m. local time, Air India Flight 171 to London Heathrow begins preparations for departure at Gate G2 of Ahmedabad International Airport. Located in the western Indian state of Gujarat, this airport serves as the departure point for the roughly 10-hour journey to the UK. A total of 242 people are on board, among them 10 crew members and 11 children. The majority are Indian nationals, while others include 52 Britons, 7 Portuguese and 1 Canadian. With a slight delay, the 11.5-year-old aircraft taxis to the runway 23 and takes off at 1:38 p.m. It climbs to an altitude of around 800 feet as the crew issues a mayday call indicating an emergency. Moments later, public flight data suddenly cuts off. Experts later noted that the aircraft's landing gear was still deployed at a point when it should have already retracted, another possible sign that something was seriously wrong during the initial climb. Eyewitnesses report that the plane appeared to be nose up, yet was visibly descending toward the residential area below. Struggling to gain altitude, the aircraft crashed just moments after takeoff and slammed into a student hostel connected to a local medical college. Following the accident, rescue teams were immediately mobilized with emergency medical aid and relief efforts underway at the crash site. On arrival, they are met with a devastating scene that resembles a war zone. Wreckage is scattered across the streets with the tail section still lodged inside a building. The debris, however, remains somewhat intact, suggesting a slower impact speed and briefly raising hope that someone on board might have survived. Sadly, it has now been confirmed that all 242 people on board lost their lives. Several more were killed on the ground, many of them medical students. Even at this early stage, it's already clear that this is the deadliest aviation disaster the world has seen in a decade. The scale of the tragedy has prompted an outpouring of responses from across India and beyond. The Health Minister, the Interior Minister, Air India, the Tata Group and Prime Minister Narendra Modi all expressed their grief and support on social media. As the news spread globally, world leaders joined in offering their condolences. The UK government pledged assistance with the investigation and cooperation with Indian authorities. But also industry players began to respond. Engine manufacturer GE Aerospace voiced its deep concern and activated an emergency response team. Boeing, however, remained silent for several hours before eventually declining to comment publicly. I can barely imagine how painful it must be for the families to receive this kind of news. My thoughts and prayers go out to all the victims and their loved ones. And as much as I want answers, I urge you to stay respectful. There is a lot of speculation at the moment, but what matters now is compassion and space for those affected. Nevertheless, the scale of this tragedy raises urgent questions, ones that will need to be thoroughly investigated in the days and weeks to come. This marks the first fatal crash involving the Boeing 787 Dreamliner since the aircraft entered commercial service in 2011. While the Dreamliner was initially praised for its fuel efficiency and cutting-edge design, it has faced mounting scrutiny in recent years. Structural flaws, control system irregularities, and quality control issues in the production process have led to multiple investigations and safety reviews. These concerns come amid broader criticism of Boeing's safety culture. The company has faced repeated setbacks with other aircraft models, most notably the 737 MAX, which was grounded worldwide after 2 fatal crashes linked to design flaws. More recently, an Alaska Airlines flight made headlines after cabin door panel detached mid-flight. Industry insiders and critics argue that Boeing has increasingly prioritized profitability over safety. They point to a corporate culture where serious defects are downplayed or ignored, raising deep concerns about long-term accountability. In the case of this Air India crash, Boeing did eventually offer support, but by then the company has already suffered significant losses on the stock market. While the causes of the crash are still unknown, it's not just the aircraft manufacturer that has drawn attention in recent years. Air India itself has faced ongoing criticism over safety practices and operational standards. The airline initially referred to the crash as an incident in its public statement, but later revised the wording to accident and set up a hotline for affected families. Given its history of multiple fatal crashes and long-standing concerns about maintenance and oversight, Air India's broader track record may also come under renewed public scrutiny, though at this stage no conclusion should be drawn. The findings of the official investigations will be crucial to understanding what went wrong, and I sincerely hope they help identify where accountability lies. That way, meaningful steps can be taken to improve safety and help prevent future tragedies. If you're interested in more aviation content, here's a video where I flew Air India Express and shared my experience. Thank you for watching.